number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the number, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Big time, lot of sun. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try to take it from me. Yeah. Big time, big time, big time. Big time. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of crime. Try to take it from me, must be out your mind. Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. It's running over with the dollar signs. Try to take it from me. Big time. I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind. I'm big time, lot of shine. Smoky in the air, that's a lot of crime. Pockets running over with the dollar sign. Try and take it from me, from me, from me, from me. Big time, number 9. Diamonds in my teeth, I got a lot of shine. Running up the numbers, that's a lot of grind. Try and take it from me, must be out your mind.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to a Tuesday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ with you, CJ with you, Trey is with you, Rob is with you, and D-Rix, the red carpet man himself, right here. All for you, people. All for the people of the Mahoning Valley or wherever you are in the world. We're here to talk Youngstown sports and amateur sports with you today. And gentlemen, I got the intro out there. The only thing that I saw that I didn't like was Trey. You weren't on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right.
You weren't on there. So now we got to get you on there.
Cool.
We got to get you on there. So I realized because what I did was I just took it off of that Ohio State game one.
I saw the negatives.
I'll get you on there. Yeah, I know you saw the negatives.
Yeah, I saw the minuses.
How's everybody doing today? All right?
Great. Yeah, great.
I like hearing that. Rob, it looks like that. Yeah, is that a freshly painted room? Is that a new room you're in?
No, ironically enough, I actually did paint this room.
That a boy.
Repeat custom.
I like it. And D-Rix, how are you, my friend?
Doing awesome. Doing great. I mean, I'm excited for the show. That's it.
You have a nice night tonight. You talked about it before we get to the show that is. Why is tonight so important for where you're going?
Well, what I love about it is I graduated from McDonald. It's always fun to go back to watch a basketball game there. But tonight's very special because head coach Jimmy Francischelli, they're doing a huge fundraising event for his son, Jameson, who was born with spina bifida. He's 6 months old now. He's doing really well. He's in a cast right now for his one club foot. But what's awesome is he's gonna see full blown the amount of support that he gets from the community of McDonald. And what's even more awesome is Lordstown is who they're playing. They're going to be wearing Team Jameson shirts to warm up tonight too. So it's going to be packed. It's going to be a lot of fun for the baby. So I'm loving it.
Jimmy is a huge supporter of what we do here, and in part we are. I guess in return we are huge supporters of what he does. Obviously, huge season last year for him, but he and his family have been going through these struggles with baby Jameson, and now that everything's kind of out in the open, I cannot wait to put on my Jameson shirt that's on order and support him here on YSN. Good luck to him and the entire crowd tonight. That's going to be a special moment. I'm so glad you're on hand. We'll have the game on, so make sure you flip on. If you don't mind, D-Ricks, always pop on by and make sure you tell people what Eric Hughes is going to have that game.
Okay.
So make sure you kind of educate him on what's going on. That way we can tell people at home. But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited for it, man. Excited for you. Excited for the entire Francis Shelley family and the McDonald community for tonight. It is National Package Protection Day, boys. So there's two ways we can go about this. What was the worst time that you ever got hit in the, let's call it, beanbag? Or is there ever a time that you had your package stolen off your front porch from some pirates? I'll let you be the judge. You can go ahead and tell the story. I'm sure they're going to be dynamite. CJ, we'll start with you.
So the first one that comes to mind, it happened twice. I got hit in the nads. At baseball practice once, we were doing this drill where we were in the gymnasium. It was winter, and they were hitting the ball real hard off the floor. We had to basically field it, pick it, whatever. And I missed it. So there's one. The second one was in gym class. We were playing soccer, and I was the goalie. So.
Ow. Soccer balls don't miss, dude.
No, they don't.
Soccer balls don't miss.
I saved it, though. That was a good thing. I saved a big goal.
You saved one ball. You didn't save the other two.
No, I was down for about 10 minutes afterwards. But
attaboy. All right, Trey, you're up.
Yes.
Hang on. Wrong guy.
Similar story. Taking ground balls, not thinking much of it, trying to do backhands, and Coach Wyme hits a scorcher up the middle. Try and stop it straight to the cojones. Can't breathe. 10 minutes on the floor. Brutal scene. But yeah.
Just bad news when that happens, right? It's just
terrible.
bad news.
Yeah,
Donnie, what do you have?
Listen, I probably have a tie for two, and both of them were getting hit in the nats. When I was little, Rob probably did this when he was little too. I don't know about you, DJ. It might have been a little bit. We were riding our bikes, and you would stand on your bike and think that you're cool, and stand up on your bike and let the bike steer itself and all that stuff. Well, the one time I hit a little bit of a pothole and slipped right onto the seat. That sucked really bad. But I think even worse than that is I have three older sisters, and my middle of the oldest had some really good looking friends over. I was about 9 years old, and I thought it was cool. She was annoyed by me and gave me a nice swift kick to it. So right in front of her friend.
Oh.
So embarrassing. And it was so bad.
Sisters.
Yeah.
Rob, how about you?
Well, fair enough what Donnie was talking about. I did jump a bike jump a ramp for the bike one time and came down on that, and that was pretty good. That was when I was younger. The worst was football practice. And what had happened is this underclassman was trying to go a little hard that day, and I wasn't having it. And I told him to back off, and I said, listen, man, I ain't even trying to do this in front of nobody. I'm telling you right now, you come at me again, I'm going to let you have it. And he did. And so what I did was when nobody was looking, he was walking away from me, and I went basically like Ray Lewis from the back, and I hit him so hard from behind that he went this way, and his back feet came up and hit me so hard in the testicles that I was basically down for about an hour. And coaches asked me what was wrong, and just told him to take a nut shot. By far the hardest I've ever had. That was unbelievable, the amount of pain.
I love that you use the scientific term for the boys in the old testes. Thank you for that. In case anybody had any suspicion of what we were talking about, there they were.
You're racking my little surprise.
Mine was I used to take karate when I was younger, and I remember a couple years in, we were at a karate tournament, and it was the finals in sparring, and I had this kid down. I forget what it was. You score 5 and you win. I had whatever it was. I had him down 4-0, and he just squares up and kicks me right in the beanbag, dude. It was it. He got booted, and I got the trophy, but I got some ice bags too.
Not
Then I
cheating,
got
not trying.
Yeah, my guy was not happy. I mean, he was after, like, he knew he was going to lose, so he just teed himself up and he was out of there. So that was the last time I tried to do the Aaron Rodgers like discount double check, like wearing the strap. Yeah, that didn't work out well for me. So, and I don't even have the trophy anymore. That dude's got a great story to get beer for. So, happy National Package Protection Day to all of you. That's naturally not at all what we were supposed to be performing on talking about. However, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's a story for everybody. Rob, let's get back to business, man. It is Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Bear Brothers Fine Hardwoods. I missed it yesterday. You're supposed to call me out, keep me on my toes, but we had bigger things to talk about, bigger fish to fry in that team up north. Talk to me about Would You Rather what today?
This is not an easy one for me because I really am not sure how to answer this. Would you rather never use social media again or never watch a movie again? I'll answer first, and honestly, this is not very easy at all because I love both, of course, clearly. I mean, I love social media so much that I'm actually in Facebook jail my backup account right now for 24 hours. But that's not my fault. Anyways.
Never is.
No.
You need a Facebook lawyer, dude. Like, you're at that point.
Well, I have a Facebook lawyer team, and it doesn't matter because they disagree with the decision every time. So it's not my fault, though. Hey, you know what? If you make a bet, pay your bet. If you don't, you're going to get called out in public. So whatever. Anyways.
You need like the Edgar Snyder of Facebook is what you need.
If I had to actually, if somebody was holding a gun to my head and said, you have to pick and you're going to get shot, I would say myself, I would probably, I'm going to go ahead and just say never watch a movie again.
I think I'm with you.
Oh, by the way, you can't use social media to watch any movies either.
The tricky.
Because I knew that was coming.
Can you watch clips from movies? Like,
well, I mean, you
memes?
can, I mean, like me, hell, you run through TikTok, you can watch a whole damn movie if you're careful enough. I would say that you could watch clips.
Okay.
But you cannot sit down and watch a movie if you choose social media.
All right, I'm in movie then, or I'm losing the movie. Social media, I mean, YSN would go belly up real quick if we didn't have social media. So see ya, movies. I'll miss Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. That's it. CJ?
Yeah. Oh, this is a tough one. I am such a movie buff. I can't see myself giving up movies. I love social media. I use it for getting my news and everything, but I might have to cut that one out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Trey Dog?
Yeah, movies are out. Gonzo, see you later. Can't lose the Instagram.
What movie would you miss the most?
Probably like the one that I would rewatch the most. Probably be like The Sandlot.
I thought you were gonna say Frozen.
Well, I strike you as a Frozen guy. Yeah, sorry.
It's the complexion of the screen.
Just let it go, man. Just let it go.
Throwing you a little Elsa tone.
Dunking on the graphic. Now it's Frozen. Wow, just going.
Hey, you had your day yesterday, right? You had your day yesterday.
Oh, I'm having this the whole week. Oh no, it's not just yesterday. I just didn't say anything today.
Maybe I'll just make a whole intro devoted to you.
I mean, put Frozen on it. I'll be fine.
Elsa and Anna, we'll put it on it. No problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
D-Rix, movie, social media. Which one's gonna go?
Man, that is so tough because I probably go to a movie once a week, honestly.
Really?
Oh yeah, with the fam, we I saw Ghostbusters. I mean, we've seen everything. I tell you what, it would be tough to give up movies, but I think with social media, there are so many other avenues with social media that are still unexplored, and to give that up for life would be hard. Man, I'd have to give up movies, but that sucks. That's a terrible one, Rob. Terrible.
What's the movie that you'd hate giving up the most?
Oh my God. Karate Kid. There's way too many, dude.
Is there a movie that you guys have that when it's on, you cannot not watch it. Like the remote stops on it every single time.
Oh, there's probably, I don't know, I would say 50 of those for me.
100%.
I mean, it could be anything from Black Sheep, and I actually downgraded my cable package to that 10-channel thing from Spectrum, because their packages are crazy. I mean, it's like $230-$240 a month.
Yeah.
I went down to that 10-channel thing, and it goes down to like I think $150 a month. And I'm like, screw it, I'll do the streaming stuff, whatever. But yeah, there's that few channels.
Frozen.
He gone. See, that's what happens when you make fun of the cable company. They find you and they axe you right there. Well, thank you. That was a great Would You Rather, brought to you by our friends over at Bear Brothers Fine Hard Woods. Gentlemen, it's another day in conversation with Andy Hake, as I do on a weekly basis for our show, and you guys will see it later. One of these, something popped up, and it was really interesting to me, and it's something we've talked about before, and there's no answer to it. Open enrollment versus parochial. It's always going to be there. In some different states, open enrollment, I guess public schools and parochial schools don't play each other. I should say that. They don't play each other. It's a separate sandbox. Here in Ohio, we do. It's just how it goes. Has open enrollment slowed down, quote-unquote, recruitment from parochial schools or Catholic schools, or whatever you want to say they are, from that standpoint? And has it leveled the playing field even a little bit to this point? Trey, I'm sure you've got some interesting insight, being that you go to one of them. Your thoughts?
I mean, I think it slows it down, but I think that people overstate like how much it can like affect parochial schools. I don't think, like, if a kid's growing up and his parents went to a school and that's kind of the family school, I don't think that's going to change because another football team wins 2 more games a year and they might have a better chance of going to the playoffs. Or I just think people overstate it, and I think it's used as an excuse a lot. You look at Ursuline, they're they have open enrollment because of the way that they're set up, but I don't think that would take away from like a Cheney who is doing well in certain sports that Ursuline isn't doing as well. And so I'm sure it affects parochial schools, but I don't think that it makes as big of a difference as everybody says it does.
Okay. Donnie, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think open enrollment can actually hurt their own school system more so than help or than hurt a parochial. Case in point, a few years ago, I'm not going to mention names, but they went to a school over in North Lima, Canfield, whatever you want to call it, South Range. They pushed a girl out of there. She ended up going to another school, and if that girl had stayed with that unit that came in from Springfield, holy cow! I mean, they would have won state championships. But I think parochial has more a sense of a tradition of families. Hey, we're an Ursuline family, we're a Mooney family. My mom went there, my dad went there, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Versus open enrollment, anybody can go anywhere. It's definitely going to hurt a parochial, but I think it hurts its own school system, to be honest with you.
Rob, what's your take on this?
Dang it.
I'm guessing you can't hear us. Can you hear us?
I'm gonna go with no.
I'm gonna go with no. CJ, your turn.
Yeah, I'm kind of with D. Ricks here. I think it might hurt or a system a little bit more. Obviously, I would say it's not the whole picture for the most part. Sports is just a small, portion of what goes into a family's decision to go somewhere else. But it's interesting to me seeing this conversation in Pennsylvania. We don't have this debate. I would say I think it would be a more fair, level playing field if the schools were split. The schools that aren't
in public.
Right. Yep. So I think that it would just make it a more level playing field for me, as far as I would say. But And like I say, I bring them up all the time because they're just so fascinating to me. Aliquippa, it doesn't matter who they bring in, they always win. They just have a system built that wins, and bringing in other players wouldn't change that.
Rob, what's your take on this?
I think it depends on where you're at. I think it depends on what sport we're talking about. I think it depends on who's running the school board, superintendent. I think it depends on if the school is looking to get money from the state to open up open enrollment. I know that certain school districts, I won't say who for sake of disagreement, they opened up open enrollment basically in hopes of improving their sports. And parents seen it, and sure enough, it did. Some parents didn't like it, and they started going to board meetings and all that stuff. I think it's definitely taken away from the parochial recruiting option, but it depends, because we could be talking about baseball, basketball, football. We could be talking about kids that are now on these travel teams that meet up with 12, 13, 14-year-old friends, stay friends, and all of a sudden they come into junior high or high school, possibly contemplating the option to play together if that's an option, if their parents want to go down that road. I think that plays into it as well. And, all of a sudden, they might be living over here, but if they talk to so-and-so at a parochial school and said, hey, my kids are pretty decent. What's up? What do you guys want to do? We want, let me know. I think there are so many variables, but at the end of the discussion, I would say that open enrollment has definitely hampered some of the recruiting spiel that the appropriate schools can offer kids now.
Yeah, I would stand by that. I think that some of the options, and again, people always got mad about the collusion and the super teams and the NBA and the stuff that's happening. If you think that's bad, that's the tip of the iceberg. Just keep on going down to youth sports and seeing these parents and these kids that will do anything it takes to play together with these dreams and ambitions of state championships while they're playing together in the summer, in the spring, in the winter, whatever it is. It's crazy. It really is nuts. The days of just playing with the kids in your community are really, truly, I believe, behind us. Because, and it was always tough because you'd have a kid that moves into your district and then you have to kind of re-gel the entire team or find that chemistry again. Now, you have kids that are moving from district to district for sports, and that's it. And they can't say that, but naturally they're just going for sports. And we kind of knew that was the case, before with the recruiting, because that's how kids were recruited. You're a great football player, you're a great baseball player, basketball, but whatever it may be, you're going to come here. And I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You're going to come here, you're going to get a great education, but you're also going to be, putting the work in to what we think is going to be a state title. Now you could do that at the public setting. And to me, it's really interesting because some schools have said, we still want our kids alone. Boardman is one of those schools, Canfield, Poland, Springfield, just a few of those. And they're like, no, we just want the kids from our community. If you want to go somewhere else, that's on you. But we believe in our communities, and that's it. Not that there's anything bad with open enrollment, guys, but at the end of the day, if there's a loophole, a parent or a student athlete is going to find it.
DJ,
I wouldn't say if there's anything bad. I mean, they're open enrollment can sometimes kick you in the, it can sometimes put a bad day in your book. I mean, I've seen it happen, and I've seen examples where, if you have open enrollment in a certain school, that it has hampered on the schools. I've seen it firsthand, and that's what some of the parents were worried about in the one school I was talking about, just because some of these kids showed up and they were just being total D-bags or whatever. So if you have the open enrollment and if you're going to get funding and it could realistically help with sports and whatever, I mean, who's going to say anything bad about that? I mean, who doesn't want to go to a state championship if you have the option? We all do. But what I'm saying is, if any type of riffraff comes with open enrollment, that's going to turn anybody off. Everybody knows that.
I think what it hurts, though, it doesn't hurt open enrollment, doesn't hurt parochial. It hurts school pride. I mean, school pride has gone down tremendously with the likes of the AAUs, the JOs of the world, because kids are like, well, my school team isn't that good, but man, when I'm on a team with these guys and we're winning championships, on the AAU circuit or whatnot, man, that feels good, but like the school pride, and I talked to my girls a long time ago. Man, obviously I grew up in a 1 square mile village in McDonald, Ohio, and my pride for McDonald is beaming through to this day. I'm 42 years old. Okay. Trying to translate that to today's athlete is almost impossible. It's why what's your reason for playing? What's your reason for this? Do you think you have school pride? And they tell you yes, until you start asking them questions about this, about that, about the other. And they start telling you, well, maybe I don't have as much pride as I need to. If we could find a way to get school pride back to where you're walking in the mall and you're wearing that Letterman's jacket and oh, by the way, the kid's coming up from Ursuline wearing his Letterman's jacket and there's some beef. That's good. That's to me that's all in good fun.
Well, you even see that now with baseball. I mean, we have a great it would be the equivalent to an AAU basketball team in scene. You see that now with baseball. I mean, I know plenty of kids who are like, oh, you know what, my high school team sucks, but that's not what my focus is on. I just use that to get ready for the scene season, and that's when.
Wow.
That's just that honest to God. I mean, that's true. That's how it is. I mean, if your high school team isn't good, that's kind of the mindset that I know kids that have had, and that's just how it is nowadays. I completely agree with Donnie.
Where did we flip this on its head? You know what I mean? Where did we flip it from being super important to win a state championship with the people that you went from preschool to senior year with, to it's important for me to go win a championship in the summer, and not to knock anything in the summer or the spring, these alternate championships, these travel ball tournaments and things. That's the best way I can describe them, where you get a ring, but the money is there, right? The money is funded by the parents and by sponsors and things of that nature. Where did we flip? I don't remember where this flipped on its head. Does anybody remember? Donnie, you're shaking your head.
I remember exactly when I was a freshman, so it would have been 1993 was the first time any of us had learned about an AAU travel program. Like, we used to go play Gus Mackers with our friends from other schools and stuff, 3-on-3 tournaments, stuff like that. But then, wow, somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you're pretty good. Why don't you try out for this team? Oh, but there's only 2 of you that are allowed from your school. And this isn't the case in PA, because PA, this is what I love about PA versus the OHSAA. The OHSAA has that half rule, where half of one less than half of your team can be a part of an AAU or a JO. Where PA, we play teams from Beaver Falls, Beaver Falls would come play. Their entire team would come play, and that's they have pride. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, hey, we're gonna fight with the people that we grew up with, and I'm telling you, in the mid 90s is when this all started, and then all of a sudden, all these training facilities and all these different organizations started coming about, and they just started saying, hey, you know what, you're good enough, you could be really good if you play with so and so. It's just like the Greg Oden, JJ Solinger, Aaron Kraft, Michael Conley Jr., like that whole group all played in that Indianapolis team or whatever it was. They all decided to go to Ohio State together. It's just early recruitment is all it is. It's just, I don't know. It sucks because obviously my daughter plays AAU. She plays for EB. And but what I love about her is she cares about her school. I think I've put that, and I have ingrained that in her head to make sure that she realizes, like, this is important right now. Yes, going and playing with those girls is so much fun. We get to go to Louisville, Kentucky for the Run for Roses, and you get to see 1,000 teams and whatnot. But this is what's important right now. You are playing for your classmates, for your school, and your community. The community is not going to rally around it. They're not all going to tune into the AAU championship game in Louisville, Kentucky. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the individualization of sports is really what started turning this thing on its head.
So let me ask this question to you guys. Do you all agree that football is the one that's probably the most school-spirited across all sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think that is because there's no competition for football?
Yes.
It's interesting to me. That's very interesting to me because if you think about that, baseball has competition, volleyball has competition, bowling has competition. I mean, everything, basketball, softball, everything has competition except for football. Why is that? Why has nobody come out with the alternative for playing football, whether it be flag or contact? Why has nobody said, hey, we're going to put a spring football together and we would love for you guys to play from the AAU standpoint? Rob, what any thoughts?
Well, the thing is, I mean, this is common sense. I mean, 2+2 sport type stuff. We're talking about high school football. If you go ahead and run down the line, it could be girls basketball, it could be boys baseball, it could be bowling, golf, whatever. Nobody's going to watch that team compared to football because it's high school football. That's it. And going off like what you're talking about when the individualization started compared to the one in the States, I mean, going off what Donna was saying, the middle 90s, I have to agree with that timeline because it's kind of like when it started, but I was actually thinking the way it really started taking off was after it started, was almost like the middle of the 2000s. Then if you go back and then you start thinking about how, here's how it went. You go to high school, you go to college for 3 or 4 years, and then you go play professional sports, whatever. Yeah, tell my freaking internet, this customer's internet might be acting up. Anyways, as soon as people started coming out of high school and going right to the NBA, I can tell you right now, kids started realizing how much sooner they could get into professional sports then. So once that all started, I think that's when it kind of like got into the hype of, you know what, we should start concentrating on this way earlier than later. So we're going to have to possibly entertain going with these travel teams, doing this, doing that to make our kids that much better to get them ready sooner by the time they're done with high school.
Could you anticipate someone starting a spring football at some point? Trey?
I mean,
Go ahead, Rob.
no, I was going to say you can anticipate it, but if you go off of anything, so let's say not the norm, you know, Vince McMahon tried his hand on that one. You know, you got the other football leagues that are nowhere near as popular. So, I mean, you could try it, but I don't know how good it's going to be.
I just think that if you think about it, I think that football is too physically straining on the body, especially for 2 leagues. I mean, I see enough kids get hurt during the high school season, then to have another league in the spring, a couple months after that. I just don't think enough players will be able to stay healthy to have it up for long. So I don't. It's not like basketball or baseball where, you know, they're longer seasons as they are. They're not as hard on the body. There's not as many injuries. So for that reason, I don't think it could work.
Listen, 2 years ago, when we were not sure if there was going to be a football season, we looked into a 7-on-7 option for everybody. So if they couldn't play, obviously, tackle, I mean, the insurance for tackle football is through the roof, number one. But I would also say from a standpoint of 7-on-7s, what do you need? A football, a bunch of footballs. That's all you need, and you just let them go to work. Texas does it all the time, and I think it's great. There's actually, if you guys have, it might be Hulu. It's either Hulu or Peacock. They have the Texas 6. In Texas, they play 6-man football, and it is like all tackle. It is like big boy football. Some of the teams around here, I was watching it and intrigued because some of the teams around here that don't have the numbers are probably going to look at this down the line, 6-man football, 8-man football, whatever it may be, in order to keep their football programs and keep generating revenue. Because I don't think the revenue goes away from it. You're just involved in a different sport that you can possibly win championships in. We'll talk about that when we come back. We have to take a break, pay some bills. We're going to talk about all of this when we come back. It started as parochial versus public, and it's kind of twisted its way into an interesting discussion about the extracurriculars around the season. So we'll take a break. Be back after this on YSN's Power Hour.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Working with your family can be stressful at times. But because they're family, you know that you're going to get a loving, honest answer, even when things don't make sense, to any problem. Dealing with Medicare can be confusing and overwhelming. That's why here at Myers Family Insurance, we do our best to give you honest and caring answers to all of your questions. Family, like Medicare, isn't always perfect, but when you put others first, the results can be amazing.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
Welcome back to the YSN Power Hour. DJ, CJ, Trey, Rob, and D-Rix with you. I want to give a shout-out real quick to my buddy Richie Giuliano, who just talking to him. Just had his wisdom tooth pulled and is still going to be on the call tonight, and he is all ready to go. What a trooper, guys. That is just guts and glory, and Richie's going to be the voice of the Cardinals again this season for Canfield, and excited for that. But, man, Richie, if you're out there, you're watching, I'm sure you are. That's what you do. Your life is sports. Get well soon, my friend. By 6 o'clock, get well soon. So we appreciate you so much. We were talking about kind of the AAU, the travel ball circuit, if you will, and how it's affected sports here in the Valley. Are there pluses, Donnie, to how kind of the sports have affected this area in the off-season?
I mean, what do you mean by pluses?
So has it made the student athlete better? Well,
before we went to break, Chris made a nice comment about football doesn't have that winter sport like JO volleyball does with girls basketball, the competition. Yeah, right there. So, I mean, does it make a volleyball player better playing JO? I mean, as far as technicalities, maybe, but when you're being set by a girl that's a stud at Beaver Local, and then you come home to your Bourbon team and your setter's not as good of a setter as the girl from Beaver Local, how does that make you better? Yeah. You know, one thing that I wanted to bring up about that too is college coaches, if you're playing football and they're looking at you for football, they want you wrestling. They want you running tracks. They don't want you playing football in the spring, you know, getting banged up for, you know, before you come to them in the fall, you know, so, there's a reason why track is track. You know, I went from, believe it or not, I used to be 165 pounds soaking wet, and I used to be blazing fast. And it's all because of track season. When I would go from my junior year into my senior year of football, coming off a track season where I ran it at Columbus, I mean, I was lightning fast, ready to go. So there's reasons why there's other sports that help you with the main sport that you want to play. You know, I make my daughter run cross country. I mean, she could tell you she hates it every day, but she still does it because she knows as long as she's not in foul trouble, she's going to be on the court as much as possible. And the reason why she runs cross country is because of the longevity. She knows she has the wind in her
endurance.
The endurance. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. The bonus, I don't think there's any pluses to it. Except for the fact that you're just playing with better players, and you know it's not going to benefit you at your school. That's for sure.
CJ, do you cringe as a baseball coach when people tell you, hey, I'm going to go play for XYZ this summer? Like, because coaches have a way of nurturing you and protecting arms, especially during those cold months of April, May, and maybe a little bit into June, depending on how far you go. But you guys are out there in March sometimes and throwing. Does it make you cringe when a kid says, hey, I'm going to go throw for Coach X?
Oh, yeah. It bothers me to an extent I can't imagine. But I'm a relatively newer coach, but I have implemented sort of my own thing. I run my summer program. I run my fall program for baseball. I want my kids playing for me, period. End of discussion. Like, our biggest rival in baseball there is Blackhawk, the Blackhawk Cougars. Yep. They are a talented program. Were ran for about 30 years by one of the greatest coaches in the area, Bob Amelia. God rest his soul. He passed away of cancer a couple years ago. But one of the greatest coaches, and his rule was, if you don't play for him in the summer, you don't play for him on varsity.
Ooh.
That was his rule, and he was very stingent about, you play for me, period. And his program created so much success. Brendan McKay went to Louisville, got drafted by the Rays, 4th overall, I think, in 2017. Like, out of Beaver County. Like, I mean, how many pro baseball players come out of Beaver County? It's not a huge list, but he was able to create one of them. And every year, Blackhawk is that successful. So I'm trying to emulate that, right? I want my players playing for me. I want to monitor their innings pitched. Or the only thing that I think travel baseball can bring is if a high school program doesn't have a summer league they're in, if they don't have a fall league they're in, that allows their players to go out and play, get innings, get reps, whatever. But because other schools may have it, I don't want my kids playing in some summer league. And we love Youngstown B League here, but I don't want my kids playing for that. Just me personally.
Well, I mean, you lose control.
Absolutely.
And coaches are control freaks. If you haven't learned that by now, they're control freaks. Rob, what good can come out of playing, I guess, travel ball from your standpoint? Just the pluses, no minuses.
For the high school, I don't know if it's really good. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I think everybody can agree. If you want to get better at anything, I don't care what sport it is, you play somebody better than you. Play somebody that's good. The thing about travel ball and AAU or whatever, it could be any sport, baseball, basketball. I mean, you're playing, your competition's better. You are gonna get seen by college coaches more at the same time, more than once. I mean, some might be having fun with it. I don't think people are miserable with these things. For high school, I would say it can, hamper a few things with the coaches and their strategies, but for the actual individual athlete and the parents involved, or getting this kid to whatever they need to get to, for them, I mean, I think it could help more than it does any kind of damage. But for the actual high school and that coach in particular, yeah, I'm sure it pisses a few of them off.
Trey, we're going to go to you to tie a bow on this to close it up, because you're living it literally right now. Your thoughts on when you look at your school season against your summer ball season, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for playing in the summertime. I think it's great for the athlete. Like Rob said, if you want to be better at anything, you play somebody that's better than you. And Class B down in Bobstein Park in Struthers, it's one of the best leagues for baseball around. I mean, you're not going to find a better, well-run, organized league with as much talent as there is in that league. So I think it's fantastic. I mean, I played in that league since I was 14 years old, and it's done nothing but make me better. Especially in the high school season, I think you can get an overinflated, I don't want to say ego, but you can think too much of yourself if you play too good in the high school season. And I know it's happened to me. Scene does a very good job of bringing that athlete back down to earth and realizing, hey, if you do stop working or if you get too comfortable, this is what it can be like. at the next level. So I think it's great. I'm a big advocate for playing in the summertime, especially in the Class B league.
I like it. Great discussion. Great discussion. We're going to start a new trend, hopefully, today. We started it really yesterday, but we didn't really announce it. We're going to give the chat question of the day. And our chat is booming right now. Don't know who these people are because there are a lot of fake names. But we got Quinn Pushkar, which is not really Quinn Pushkar. There's two N's, and Pushkar is not spelled like that. Says, I have a question. Why in some of these big schools like Fitch and Boardman are not good at some sports compared to others? I mean, I see them losing to schools smaller than them. I don't think it's necessarily just a big school versus little school thing. I think it's just some sports you're better at than others, and it's a participation thing a lot of times too. Donnie, Boardman was said, and you're the Boardman guy, so talk to me about that.
It's the sharing of athletes or lack of sharing of athletes is all it comes down to. There's only 14 girls, 12 healthy right now in the entire high school program at Boardman. When I was coaching 2-3 years ago, up to 10 years prior, we would have anywhere from 30 to 35 players. But there are probably 12 high school girls that are playing JO volleyball right now, and there are another handful of girls that are doing indoor track. There are another handful of girls that are committed just to softball now. So you're basically, if you're not playing AAU or JO in the middle school ages, the junior highs, or if you are playing in those, they start telling you that at that point in time, hey, you should probably start looking at maybe this as your focus, and when they start telling you that, what a lot of kids don't understand is they just want your money right now. They're businesses. They are organizations, they are sports organizations, but they're also businesses. And when a kid starts hearing, hey, I'm really good, I should really just focus on this, well, then the parents' ego starts getting full. And they start saying, hey, you know what? We're gonna just focus on this now, and we're gonna do what's best for us. It's not about the school anymore. So just because Boardman is as big as Boardman is, which is not very big anymore, by the way, Fitch is way bigger in numbers, enrollment, and everything else. Just because we are as big as we are, doesn't mean that we're always going to be as good as we are in everything we do. But we do have programs that have always done really well. Our swim teams have been top notch. Our golf teams have been top notch. And it's just weird because you would think, like, I guess the biggest school in this area that's pretty level as far as being good in pretty much everything they have, you would have to say Canfield.
Yep.
They're very good. They're not great at everything. They're very good at all of their sports. So, if we could find a way to pattern ourselves after what they do, a lot of these schools, I mean, that's where the success is right now. Is somebody that's somewhere in that gym, they're told, hey, you're doing this, but I also want you to do all those coaches are all on the same page, and we have these winter sports meetings, we have these fall sports meetings, we have these parent meetings that the state requires every school to have. And in every single one of those meetings, our athletic director is saying straight up, coaches have to share athletes, but he can only go as far as he can go. That volleyball coach or that softball coach or the baseball coach or whatnot, or the basketball coach can just say, they can say, hey, you know what? You're getting really good. I'd hate to lose you next season because you played football, or vice versa. The football coach could be like, hey man, I don't really want you playing basketball. You're too valuable to me on the football field. So, I don't know.
A lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff to unpack there. One of the things that I'm interested, Rob, from your standpoint, you coached at the youth level. Do you think that, when they ask why a bigger school is losing to smaller schools because they're not as good in this sport as they in this sport? Does it have a lot to do with the foundational education of that sport and how much exposure to that sport the kids have in that particular community?
Sure. I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be because they're too big. You know, when I was going to Boardman, I left Boardman and went to Brookfield. Boardman, you walked that school, it was like Taj Mahal. I mean, you had just 600 kids per graduating class. There's so many kids. You had your cliques over there, you had this over there. And then I go to Brookfield, and then all of a sudden, it's one of the smallest schools I've ever walked into. Everybody knew you. You knew everybody. But you talk about tight-knit, and then all of a sudden, since they were 6, and then they're in high school, they've been together for 12 years. And now they're ready to go. Boardman,
that damn cable company's got them again.
Yep.
CJ, from your standpoint, while we're waiting on Rob to pop back in, you talked about Aliquippa. I mean, they'll go up against anybody. I think if the Cowboys were on the other sideline, they would go up against them. How does that happen?
Well, it happens because you have an entire community that's bought into one singular program. Unfortunately for Aliquippa, they're not great at the other sports. Basketball, they're okay. Baseball, they're not. And they have girls' sports, but I don't, quite frankly, off the top of my head, I don't know what they have. But when you have a community that's bought into one singular sport, that becomes their tradition. That they are built to play football. It's a poor community, unfortunately, but every Friday night in the fall, that's their time. And I think that when it comes to, these bigger schools versus smaller schools, some schools are just built for a particular program. And that's just how it is. It's how it's always been. Boardman, that's a huge school. They're not always going to have the most gifted basketball players, and whatever sport isn't going to translate to the other sports. You're not going to have, just because you have a good football program doesn't mean you're going to have a great anything else, really.
Do you think it has anything to do with the bigger schools have more to do as well?
Yeah. I think so.
There's 28 more sports. There's 28 sports offered at Boardman.
That's insane. I
mean, it's really insane compared to a small school that's has maybe 18. That's where the sharing of athletes comes into play, and it's almost impossible. Like there's girls that run cross country and play soccer, and it's like, how do you do that? Or there's soccer players that play football, and that's a lot of wear and tear, on an athlete. So.
Trey, I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, some schools are just known for certain sports. I think it's kind of that simple. I mean, to make the analogy to the college level, Vanderbilt sucks at football, but they're probably the best baseball school in the country. Perfect. So it all depends on what sports you're pretty much known for, and yeah, you got to go from there. I mean, if you're not a predominantly good basketball team and you're in a lower division and you're playing out of division against like Fitch, the odds that you win probably are really low. So I just think it comes down to
that. Getting some thanks out there for answering. So welcome to a new segment here where the chat box is open, and
where the hell did I cut off that, by the way?
Dude, I have no idea. You were max headroom.
I can't tell you. I want to seriously. I'm gonna take. I'm about to throw this through the freaking door and be like, hey, I don't know if you need to pay your bill or what, man. Don't let this happen again.
Don't mess with Rob's Power Hour ever. Ever. It is time, gentlemen, for one of my favorite times of the day, and certainly one of my favorite, everybody's seemingly favorite part of the show, when they just get to bitch a little bit. So here we go. It's the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at DickeyElectric.com. Anything commercial, residential, anything electrical, you go to the official electric supplier of your sports network. You go to Joe Dickey Electric, first and foremost in North Lima, Ohio. Let's go. CJ's laughing at my jokes today, so you can lead it off there, Kenny Lofton.
Yeah, so positive spark today. We start our winter workouts for baseball. Very excited about that. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to miss it. Got some homework I got to put up, so I guess that would be negative. But I love that our program has really come together and really started to flourish. We've built a really good thing over these last 4 years, and a lot of excitement from the kids just to do winter workouts, which how many really want to do that? But they're there. They're all going to be there. I'm excited for that.
Not shabby, my friend. Congratulations on that, Trey.
I shot a promo pretty much on Michigan yesterday. And in all of that, I have to say, my days have been not good since then, but there is a positive spark for me. The positive spark is I don't have to hear Notre Dame fans anymore because you guys are coachless currently. You have no coach, and that means I don't have to hear all the Notre Dame fans in the area talk about how they're the most prestigious college football team, because when you guys don't make the college playoff, I don't have to hear about Ohio State. So that's a win for me, DJ.
Nice play. Nice play. Rob, what do you got?
This goes out to every single person, whether you're 10 years old, 20 or 70. I don't care if it's a $5 bet or a $50 bet or a $100, whatever. Do not be generic and not pay that bet. That is one of the worst things you can do with people. It shows your true character. And if you are that person, then I hope you stub your toe for the rest of the night on at least 10 pieces of furniture.
Johnny.
I can't. No, obviously it's a positive spark. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Get to head over to support a 6-month-old baby and his family and the Francis Shelleys, and really looking forward to seeing a community come together and help support a cause. So, and Trey's awesome. I love that whole aspect about Notre Dame. And who would like to be the next Notre Dame coach, knowing that your first game to start your next season is going to a pissed off Ohio State stadium? So, good luck.
Yeah, that's. I never even thought about that. What I did think about. This got me fired up last night. The dude gets a job, right? And I've got no problem with coaches moving from, you see all these coaches move all the time. The problem I have was when Brian Kelly got announced as the new coach at LSU, he didn't tell anybody about it. And he didn't tell his own kids. And he didn't tell he texted the kids when it got leaked on social media and said, hey, we'll have I'm getting on a jet right now, heading back to Notre Dame. I'll see you at 7 a.m. in the morning for what? What? Not only, like, they know you're gone. See you later. Bye-bye. But you're going to tell them, oh, I didn't mean for it to get out this way. After a week ago in a press conference, you said that, you used Mike Tomlin's name and you said, oh, anything can happen. That $250 billion job. I don't think LSU is going to pay you $250 million. I don't think that's going to happen. You lied to every single one of those kids, and what bothers me is you see these great moments. I posted it on my social media. I loved it so much. I think it was Coach Campbell from Iowa State who was hugging and crying. He was in tears because he's invested himself into the kids' lives, and not just the football players, their lives. And every one of those seniors he hugged, and they walked out for senior day, and you could tell that he cared so much about those kids. And then you have this piece of trash, Brian Kelly, who doesn't even have the guts or cojones to give him the peace sign in person. He says, hey, I'll see you at 7 a.m. So not only are you giving him the bird and letting him find out on social media, but you're also giving him the bird by making him wake up at 7 a.m. the next day when they already know what that meeting's going to be about. Brian Kelly, I hope Notre Dame, and I listen, I'm not a Notre Dame fan, and a lot of you guys know why. I hope Notre Dame wins the national championship this year, and I hope they don't give you 1 ounce of credit, and you never see a national championship at LSU, because I like LSU. I happen to really like LSU. I will not root for them in a football game because you're there and you're trash. It pisses me off to no avail. Coaches go in and they have these promises for these kids, these 18-year-old kids who basically become a father figure in life for them. And these parents trust them. And somebody just got lied to along the line. Shame on you, Brian Kelly. Shame on you. And that's my spark. Man, I'm so fired up. I just want to like throw this out the window. Like I saw that last night, and I had a long post on social media, and I was like, nope, don't do it. The Notre Dame fans will come out and they'll support him for some reason. He's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history. He's a scumbag, and he's the epitome of a scumbag. Luke Fickell is one of the favorites to get that job, and I've seen a couple other. I hope Luke Fickell is successful in whatever he does, but stay away from Notre Dame. Stay away.
Now tell him how you really feel.
Bro. Oh, so mad. But I digress. That's going to do it for our show. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Guys, thank you for always stopping by 3 to 4 here on the network and sitting in front of the brick and having a nice little vent session and talking about local sports, because that's what it's all about. And we'll do it tomorrow again. We'll have Scotty Mitcher on, everybody's favorite day, because the wild card comes back to YSN headquarters tomorrow to spit some truth. So, gentlemen, on behalf of D-Rix, Rob, Trey, CJ, and myself, DJ, I thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the PH.